And welcome back. We are back again with Theros Beyond Death spoilers. We got our Planeswalker finally. Got a bunch of new cards, some great, some okay. Ichthyomorphosis, or Fish Transformation. Enchantment, 1 blue, 2 of any color for an enchant creature, or a enchant creature loses all abilities and is a blue fish with base power 0/1. It's going to be your standard, one of your standard blue removal spells. This card has existed many times before, like Frogify and all those things. It'll be usable, definitely. Soul Guide Lantern, 1 of any color for an uncommon artifact. Enters the battlefield, exile target card from a graveyard. You can tap this card, sacrifice it, exile each opponent's graveyard, or pay a mana, tap this card, sacrifice it, draw a card. In a deck in a set where the graveyard is going to be very active. It's going to be a very key place to be playing around. This is a card you're going to be wanting to use. Thing's going to just get rid of your entire graveyard or your opponent's entire graveyard, admittedly at the cost of your own, so you're going to have that little disadvantage. But at the same time, if you know what's in their graveyard, which is usually a big thing, this will get rid of Titans. This will get rid of gods. If they go in the graveyard, they're not coming back. So yeah, Guide Soul Lantern, man, this is a big deal. This thing will hose graveyards pretty hard. Dryad of Life's Gift is 1 of any. 1 white, for a 1/1 elemental creature. I'm guessing Dryad. Lifelink. You can pay 1 of any color, sacrifice it. Target creature or enchantment gains protection from a color of your choice. That's fine. It can trade, and then you gain 1 life, sack it, and give something else protection. So not bad at all. Decent little 1-drop. It's a 1-drop with lifelink, so that's usable, at least in some, especially in sealed. So not bad at all. Careless Celebrant is 1 red to 1 of any color for a 2/1 Satyr Shaman uncommon. When it dies, it deals 2 damage to target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls. This is a good card. It's great, good stats. Not great, but good stats. 2/1 for 2 is usable. Definitely can swing in there. If it dies, you can ping the thing that killed it, so you can do 4 damage to whatever killed it. Or you can just burn one of their planeswalkers. Burn Ashiok, burn Elspeth, burn the new guy, Caravat? I can't remember right off the top of my head what his name is, but we'll get to him. Or just, burn another creature on the field. Like if the creature that killed it died already or is just not the immediate threat, deal to the other thing instead. So it's a good card. You're going to want to use it. Dawn Evangel, or Evangel. 1 white, 2 of any color for a 2/3. I feel like this thing was already spoiled, but whatever. Human Cleric, uncommon. Whenever a creature dies, if an aura you control was attached to it, return target creature card would convert a mana cost 2 or less from your graveyard to your hand. That's a lot of words. So whenever a creature dies, if it was basically, if it had an aura attached to it that you controlled, you then get to return a target creature card, whether it be it or something else, with convert a mana cost 2 or less from your graveyard to your hand. That's a lot. And it's a lot of hoops to go through, but I'll say it's not terrible. It's definitely hard. There's no downside to it. There's just a lot of prep time for this card in the sense of you need creature to die. Can't be this card. And it needs to be a creature with an aura attached to it. And then you need to have something weak enough to bring back and put it not into the field, but your hand. I'll be honest. I'll stick with something else. I get it. I respect it, but it's not for me. Altar of the Pantheon, 3 of any color. For a artifact, devotion to each color and each combination of colors you control is increased by 1. You can tap it, add mana of any color. If you control a god, a demigod, or a legendary enchantment, you gain 1 life. Well, this will be going into the god deck, absolutely. This obviously is a great card, but I'll say this. Now, let me rephrase it. But's not the right word. It's increasing your devotion to each color, and color combination is increased by 1. So if you have devotion 0 at the moment, it's to whatever. It's now devotion 1. If you have devotion 3 at the moment, it's devotion 4. So makes casting your gods easier. Absolutely. Honestly, it makes casting anything with devotion easier, or anything that has devotion, it makes their abilities much easier. You can have multiple copies of this on the field, which I think is very key here. It's not a legendary card. It is very much just you could have up to 4 copies of this on the field, in which case your devotion increases by 4 at that point. Even having 2 increases it by 2, which is amazing. The thing that I find a little curious about is not with the devotion to each color part. That's pretty explanatory. Each color combination. So if you needed, I'm guessing that's for multicolored gods, like your Crufixes, like your Karanoses, like your Ironuses, so forth and so on. Freakas. So does that mean that your devotion to, I'm guessing, my best interpretation is your devotion to green and blue is only increased by 1. You don't get a increase for green and blue, so it's not technically increased by 2. It's just that your devotion to combination devotion, wow, a lot of word soup there. Your devotion to, like, say, a multicolor god, which needs a devotion to 2 colors, it just increases by 1 of that combination, not necessarily the 2 components of the combination. So green-blue devotion only increases by 1 regardless. Still, so I'm guessing kind of like a hybrid mana situation, but it only works once. Still, a very good card for devotion decks, god decks, whatnot. Turanika, Acroian Veteran. 2 white, 1 of any color for a 3/3 legendary creature, human soldier, rare, vigilance. When it attacks, untap another target creature you control. Until the end of turn, this creature has a base power and toughness of 4 and is indestructible. And they make a reference to Gideon on there, and this clearly kind of giving us creature a Gideon-esque ability. Problem I have with this card, honestly, is that when it's all said and done, what is this card actually doing? I mean, yes, it's making another creature that's, until the end of turn, you untap another target creature you control. It says untap another creature, which means you can't target, as far as I can tell, you can't target a tapped creature because you can't untap that creature. That creature's already untapped. Unless I'm missing something. Maybe you can target. If you can target another, like, attacking creature, this card then has a lot more possibilities. But if it's something you have to untap, then, well, okay, yeah, it'll become a 4/4 indestructible, which means, I guess, to an instant spell, it's not going to die. But at that point, there aren't many board wipe instances that are available in general, let alone in this set. So I don't quite see it, but because otherwise, yeah, all you is, okay, that's a 4/4. Okay, fine. I'll just blow it up the next turn then, whatever. Yeah, see, the problem for me is I'm not seeing it. I'm just not seeing it. Now, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe someone's a lot smarter than me can figure this card out. I'm sure there are going to be people who figure this card out that are much smarter than me. But I'm not the one who's figuring it out. Dream Shaper Shaman is 1 red, 5 any color for a 5/4 enchantment creature, Minotaur Shaman, uncommon. At the beginning of your end step, you may pay 2 of any color and 1 red. Sacrifice a non-land permanent. If you do, reveal a card from the top of your library until you reveal a non-land permanent. Put that card onto the battlefield and the rest on the bottom of your library of any random order. So lots got to go into this. It's 6 mana. Granted, it's 6 mana for a 5/4, which is not a bad curb. But then you got to wait the following turn, assuming if you're lucky enough to have 9 mana available, you should already be winning, so you wouldn't need this card immediately. But if you're already able to ramp to 9 mana, you could do it on that turn, but you're probably going to be playing this card's effect at the end of the next turn. But that said, once you do that, you're essentially, it's a trade effect, so you will have to sacrifice non-land permanents. But the beauty of that is it says a non-land permanent. It doesn't say a non-token non-land permanent. So really, if you can just get some chumps out there, some sapperlings, whatever you're going to be doing, the card's just fine. You're going to probably be, more often times than not, you're going to be trading for a more effective card. Again, in a token deck, this card definitely has some advantages to it. But yeah, I think that's where this card would shine most. This is where you get chump blockers, little chump creatures, i.e. little token creatures, usually the best for those. Otherwise, it's just okay. You better hope that whatever you're getting is going to be worth it. I guess that's the best way to put it. But still, not a bad card. Sea God Scorn is 2 blue, 4 of any color for sorcery uncommon. Return up to 3 target creatures or enchantments from your to their owner's hand. So, good way of honestly bumping a god back to someone's hand. Good way of just getting rid of the kind of it's again blues removal essentially. Board wiping, board wiping the field. It's not bad. It's pricey though. It's 6 mana. You'll want to be holding on to this as long as you can until you desperately need it. But not a bad card. Guardian of Scopus Labyrinth, which is a land that got spoiled early on. Minotaur, I believe it's a Minotaur Warrior. 1 of any color. This creature gets -1/-1. Excuse me. 1 of any color. This card gets +1/-1 until the end of turn. It's a 3/4, which is actually a big swinging curve because that means you can pump this thing all the way up to 6/1. Whenever another creature becomes the target of a land you control named Scopus Labyrinth, you may have this creature fight that creature. And if I remember correctly, I'd have to go through all the spoilers to find Scopus Labyrinth. It's basically kind of like a tapping effect, it basically slows down an opponent. This is a pretty solid card. I like seeing cards that kind of interact. It gives me, because I didn't start out with Magic. I actually started out with Yu-Gi-Oh! So I'm very familiar with cards that very much specifically target other cards. Like, okay, I equip this to my Dark Magician. I can only be equipped to the Dark Magician. I mean, I remember that, so I'm joking. I never played Dark Magician in my life. Who would? But I remembered cards like that. So it's kind of cool to see cards like that every now and then. But in Magic, I get it. That's probably not the best route. Still, not a bad card at all. Even on its own, it's still a 3/4 for 4 that you can pump up to a 6/1 if you had to. So it's still fine. Edion of Obstruction. 1 white, 1 of any color for a 2/1 first strike enchantment spirit. Rare. Loyalty abilities of planeswalkers your opponent's control costs 1 more to activate. So that's new. That's very new. That's a new space to be playing around with, like planeswalker control and hosing. Because remember, planeswalker abilities, loyalty abilities, don't cost you anything except the loyalty. Now, they don't just cost you loyalty with this guy on the field. They cost you mana. And that's a resource you can't afford to be messing around with willy-nilly. Because there's a lot of guys. You get multiple copies of this on the field, which you can do. It is not legendary, so you can have as many copies of this on the field as you can get out. If you start getting multiples of these stacking up against each other, this is something that's scary. This is something you don't want to deal with. So luckily though, it's a 2/1. So even though, any sort of 2 toughness creature is going to lose in a fight with this, it's not overly hard to kill it. It'll be killed pretty quick to any sort of removal spell. So it's not the hardest thing to get rid of, but when it's on the field, you need to get rid of it. Our Planeswalker, Calyx, that's his name. Calyx, Destiny's Hand. Now, Calyx's story before we begin is essentially he was actually forged, if you will, by the god of Destiny to fill in the void that Elspeth left. But because Elspeth it vexes him why Elspeth wants to give up her peace now that she's dead. So now he's like, all right, fine. He's like, so the question is, how does he get his spark? Apparently we don't know how he gets his spark quite yet. I've heard some people theorize that he's going to take Xenagos' old spark, but I think Xenagos, I believe, just gave it up when he became a god, because he wasn't a planeswalking god. So anything's possible. We'll have to wait and see how that goes down. But he is a 4 loyalty planeswalker, 4 mana, 2 of any color, and 1 white, 1 green. I was expecting the green. I wasn't expecting the white. Most people were expecting the green red because that was because that's the god, and most people were at least expecting red because they're expecting red because those are the 2 missing colors. But I had a suspicion we weren't going to get all 5 colors represented on Planeswalkers simply because we didn't get it last set. We had a red-blue Planeswalker, we had a blue-green Planeswalker, and we had a black-green Planeswalker. The only color that wasn't represented was white. Now, we get 2 white Planeswalkers in this. I'll go into a little theory at the end of the video, what I think we might be getting with Ikoria on that, because I think we are seeing a little bit of like a color pattern there. So, Calyx Destiny's Hand, though, is, like I said, 4 loyalty, +1. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal an enchantment card from among them, and you may from among them, and put that card into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of the library in any random order. You can -3. Exile target enchantment you control until target enchantment, exile target creature or enchantment you don't control, and until target enchantment you do control leaves the battlefield. And then finally, -7, return all enchantment cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. So obviously, this is an enchantment style planeswalker. So you're really going to be running him in an enchantment deck because that's just it. That's the given. That said, though, his first 2 abilities aren't impossible to use in a enchantment heavy deck, but you're going to probably want to be using him in an enchantment deck. Honestly, I've been trying to rack my brain around all day. Do I have a deck he could fit in legitimately? And I had to think. I was like, well, yeah, the God deck. Now I say it out loud. I was like, yeah, the God deck. Because all the gods, at least for the Theros gods, are enchantments, plus any other enchantments I have in that deck. So, I mean, I can use his +1 to search. Eventually, if I have at least one god out and he's out, I can use the god as basically the anchor to exile stuff. So, yeah, no, that's a pretty easy call right there. And he's got a good, alternate art as well. So yeah, I think he's a good card in the right deck. I mean, all cards are good in the right deck, but you know what I mean. The deck that he belongs in, he's a good card. Thassa's Oracle is 2 blue for a Merfolk Wizard, rare card, 1/3. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is your devotion to blue. Put up to 1 of them on the top of your library, and the rest on the bottom in any order. If X is greater than or equal to the number of cards in your library, you win the game. So this is an interesting little alternate finishing move here. I can say I definitely like it. It's definitely a different type of card, different type of win condition. Certainly, we get a lot of alt win conditions, but still, this is definitely a unique one. How often are you likely to get the win off? That's, I think, the big question. I'll say this. You're going to get it more often times than you would to get it with Laboratory Maniac, I think. You're more than likely going to get it in a pre-release scenario. Now, granted, in this set, you're going to also be milling your deck out quite a bit, I imagine. So it's honestly, it's not that. I mean, you're already doing this for 2. So anything is possible. My realistic idea of how much you're going to usually get off of this is usually 4 or 5. That's usually what your board state's going to look like. But anything, again, is possible, especially if you get amass a pretty large board state. To be fair, if you're already amassing a pretty large board state, you're probably already winning. Still, it's a fun little card. I can see me trying to play it. Enigmatic Incarnation is 1 green, 1 blue, and 2 of any color for a rare enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice another artifact. If you do, search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost equal to +1 or equal to +1, or excuse me, 1+ the sacrifice creature enchantment's converted mana cost and put it on the battlefield. Essentially, a birthing pod with enchantments. And then you had the Prime Speaker Vanifear, who was basically birthing pod on a stick. Look, I mean, this kind of effect's always good. This is probably the worst of the 3 effects, I'll say that, because the other 2 are the exact same, just in different cards. This, you're sacrificing a different type of card to get a different type of card. So you need to have a certain amount of enchantments versus a certain amount of creatures, and they have to be specifically costed. That's a lot of prep. I mean, this can work. Don't get me wrong, this can work, but it's going to take some effort. It's going to take a lot of effort, if I'm going to be honest. But anything's possible. The art's great on it, though. I'll give it that. But that's the cards I got spoiled today. So what are your thoughts on them? Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, if you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. Ideas for who would win, Star Wars, Severe, Magic, what if, anything I do on the channel. Put that in the comments below as well. I'll get to that at some point. So I got a couple more videos to do, and I'll be done for the day. Thanks for watching, and see you later.